I'm now talking to another of the UK's highly skilled guitar builders, a master craftsman himself, Mr. Seth Baccus.
Hi Lars, nice to be here with you.
I've just been reading a great review of the new Seth Baccus Shoreline guitar. Now this has got a bolt-on neck, which is a slight change in direction from your Nautilus range of through neck design.
Yes, that's right. I actually redeveloped my bolt-on guitars a couple of years ago and kind of, really revamped that range. I wanted to bring some new models to market and to offer a wider range of kind of tonal possibilities. And we all know there's a certain kind of spank that you can only get from a bolt-on neck. I really enjoyed it. It was really interesting to do, and I felt like I really got into the mind frame of Leo Fender when he was designing his bolt-on guitars, and hopefully I've kind of brought something of my own to the table as well.
I've always liked the way you've kept within familiar boundaries, whilst the designs themselves have the magical Seth Baccus approach, which creates, I would certainly call, modern classics.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you, Lars. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's the dream, to create a modern classic, kind of using the combination of kind of classic stylings, but also, bringing some contemporary features to it and doing things a little bit differently in the build process, perhaps. And, I really wanted to try and create instruments that look timeless. They don't look of a specific era necessarily. They won't look outdated in another 10 years. I just wanted to create some real, timeless instruments.
Now we've talked many times in the past, and I know a little bit about the young Seth growing up in deepest Devon, and your early days and your introduction to guitar building was none other than your stepdad, who is the fantastic acoustic maker, Andy Manson.
I'm very lucky. Andy's been my stepfather since I was sort of 6 years old, roughly. And, I've spent my life surrounded by guitars and musicians and sawdust, and it's been very interesting and hugely influential on my life, of course.
We know that he's made some incredible mandolins. And just while we're talking, Andy, what happened to the giant mermaid guitar, which was a full sculpture, and you always had to climb in it to play it, and it's made from hundreds of different tone woods?
Oh, well, the mermaid lives in California now. She's part of a collection of instruments there that belongs to a gentleman. And I think that he has quite a collection of Andy's instruments, actually. I think maybe 20 or so, spanning a 4 or 5 decade career. So yeah, she's in a good home. For any viewers that are watching who've never seen The Mermaid, I highly recommend checking her out, because it's possibly the most unique piece of guitar art in the world. It's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
I've talked to Andy a lot in the past, and he's always been very much into hand tools, chisels, sawdust. I'd imagine that house in Devon was ankle deep in sawdust most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, Andy builds his guitars predominantly by hand. He's an incredibly skilled craftsman, and he could probably build an awesome guitar with a penknife and a pot of glue. He's pretty special. I hope I picked up some of those hand skills from him, and I combine them with kind of modern technology. I also use a CNC machine too, so I think combining those two things, the old world hand skills and modern kind of precision technology, has really helped me to build the guitars that I want to build.
We can see without doubt it was the best choice you could have made, but how and when did you first decide that guitar building was going to be a career?
I built my first guitar in 2004, and I probably didn't decide it was going to be a full-time career until sort of 2009, when circumstances changed and opportunities were afforded to me. And then in 2010, I sort of officially set up Seth Baccus Guitars, and haven't really looked back since, to be honest.
I met you at several guitar shows around the world, and on one occasion at the Holy Grail Guitar Show in Berlin, you were flying the flag for a lot of UK builders, and there's a lot of talk about the woods you were using there. What would you say are the most popular and you like working with for your guitars?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a big conversation about tone woods, isn't there? I like to use a lot of the classic timbers. I still use, some really nice mahogany for bodies and necks, and figured maple for the carved tops and things. For the bolt-on guitars, it's a little bit different, and I tend to use either ash or alder for the bodies, but actually more recently, for the last couple of years, I've been using quite a lot of obishi, which is a West African hardwood. It's very, very light and very resonant. I just sort of discovered it by chance, really. I thought I'd try something different and just totally fell in love with it.
Yeah, you offer some great finishes. You've got like solid colours, see-through colours, stains, high glosses and mattes, which really bring out the characteristics of the wood.
It's good fun to do the variety of stuff. I love double staining, a figured maple top and kind of really bringing out the strong figure in the wood as much as possible. And I like just doing the plain oil finishes on the necks is always really therapeutic and satisfying. And I work with a friend of mine here in Cornwall called Paul Neild on the aged nitro finishes and stuff. He's somewhat of a kind of vintage expert, and been really enjoying working with him. Also been doing some wonderful high gloss kind of dipped in glass finishes, and working with another friend of mine on some really amazing sparkle finishes which were really popular last year, and because of that the order book's full of those this year. So yeah, I look forward to doing more of those.
Yeah, sparkle finishes always look good under stage lights. But the other half of the sonic equation, of course, is the hardware, including the pickups. Like the tone woods, if a customer comes in, says, I want this and that, will you step in if you think there's a better choice for the sound that they can hear in their head?
Sure, if I think there's a slight change of direction on a component or a wood choice or something that's going to get us closer to what we want, then yeah, of course that's something we'll talk about. And I think that kind of interaction with the customer is all part of the fun. I find it very rewarding, and hopefully my customers do too. But the pain will all be worth it when it's time to live.
And that, of course, is the visual approach, but the playability, the sound, is recognised because you've got quite a few high-profile artists using them now.
I've been really lucky with the artists. I've got some wonderful players on my roster, and the thing that really excites me about my guitar making is building heirloom quality guitars that will far outlive me and hopefully get passed down through the generations.
Well, we can see you've got a nice range lined up behind you there, Seth. Can you just quickly run through the models and the designs and the hardware? What pickups you use, for example?
I've got a Nautilus Junior, which is very much based in the late 50s, kind of classic Gibson single P90, wraparound bridge, stripped right back killer guitar. I've got a Shoreline S, which is 3 single coils, tremolo, 5-way switching. Shoreline T here, which is a sort of standard telly setup, but with 4-way switching to add a little bit of extra versatility there. And then also the Shoreline T on the end with the humbucker in the neck and the bridge Telecaster style. So again, just incorporating a little bit of extra versatility, really.
I've been looking through your website as well, some excellent information on there. Is that the best place for people to order a guitar from you?
Yes, that's right. You can find me at www.sethbaccus.com. There's lots of information on the website with guide prices and guide specifications and everything. But do feel free to get in contact with me if you have any interest in my instruments, and we can have a little bit of a chat.
Seth, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to me on Britain's Rare Guitars.
Oh, well, thanks so much for having me, Lars. It's always a pleasure to chat to you.